Hello, welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, an NFL podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. You are listening and hopefully watching the preview crew. I am your host, Danny McVeigh. I'm a wee bit of a late substitution for Keith, who is needing some assistance if you're anywhere in the M8 or something like that. He's broken down. Come out with a spare tyre for him. Lads, how's it going? We're up first. Who we got here? We've got Studs all the way for Sonny Hamilton. How's it going, mate?
Not bad. It's been an interesting week, as you boys know. I just had my 11-year-old son Aaron. He ended up in getting his appendix taken out and a bit of an emergency there, so that kind of put a wee bit of additional stress on the week. But apart from that, we're all good and we're ready to go for Super Wildcard weekend.
Nice one. Did he ask for it in a jar? Because I was desperate for my tonsils to get put in a jar, but it's not how that works. But appendix could be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
I don't think he thought that far ahead, but he was telling the doctor all about it and what shape it was and that, so the doctor was quite impressed at his knowledge about it and stuff.
Ideal.
So sure off for an 11-year-old. I'm 39 and I couldn't tell you what that appendix looked like. So
he's also paying attention at school, Studs, not just hanging about football parks.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it.
Did you ever go to the Glasgow Uni museum, the anatomy museum thing with big bobies and stuff in jars and things cut up? It was absolutely tremendous. You can start one of them in the wee thing behind you in your cabinet.
Put it in the display case. I had me start with an appendix and we'll go for it.
If you don't behave yourself, it could be your bobby, you know. So
depends how much I've annoyed the wife that day.
Louise would need to give it back first.
Get the balls straight out the purse.
I'm not even going to deny that one, to be fair.
And Scud, how are you doing, mate? You've got your IT issues sorted.
I hate IT. It's good and it fucking works, isn't it? But good. Back for the weather for the Ducks, but back for that.
It's no January without a bit of rain, is it?
Ideal football already. We're losing football soon, and then when it's raining, it's not good.
It's definitely no ideal football weather. I've just been out in it with the Ian's coaching, and I've never been so cold in my life. I couldn't even close my horns off. It's brutal.
Toughen up. Playing it here. Come on. You're meant to be like hard NFL watchers. And, well, I was going to say players, but let's face it, we've never played it other than a drunken down in our life.
Aye, that one that I stole for you, but intercepted your pass, undercut the route.
Yeah, somebody jumped. It was a free play.
I said that works for me. I still go
it. Right, I forget where we're at. Hi. Super Wildcard weekend. What is it? 6 games this weekend. We're down to, I think, was it 16 games left, 13 games, something like that left of the season. I am heartbroken. I'm not going to lie, because we know just within a few weeks' time, we'll wrap them all up and we're looking for, although we've got the draft to look forward to as well and a Super Bowl piss up. So, but yes, there's some cracking games to look forward to. We'll get through them all this week, but as usual, we will start with our kickoff question, which I think is an absolute cracker. So you boys get your thinking hats on here. And if anybody wants to shout out, gaze their opinions and what they would do, let us know. If you want, drop comments on YouTube and we can fire them up on the screen. That should be pretty good. So yeah, the kickoff question, lads. Footage has been released of OBJ slagging passengers as they were disembarking the flight. He got grounded and he was allegedly a wee bit pissed and quite abusive to all the flight attendants and other passengers and stuff like that. Did you see it?
I've watched the video. Apparently sitting with his trousers off as well.
Just getting comfy.
As you do in a public flight, let's get the trousers down, Bobby out. Let's just sit there and chill.
Oh, did he was Tadger out as well?
I don't know. I'm adding that back.
You're just making that up now. Fuck.
It's not Antonio Brown here.
If it was Antonio Brown, he'd have been jumping up with his arse in their face.
That was close to me in the flight in Boston, but never mind. Right.
You're too busy sleeping.
Hey, I need my beauty sleep, mate. Right. So So if you've seen all that and you'd have seen how he's acting, he was absolutely smashed and giving a bit of lip to folk. Right. If you were as young and rich and as handsome as some of these athletes, what act filmed or posted on TMZ would get you cancelled? Right, so who's got a good one? Studs, I can see your wee brain working there. Come on.
I need to be honest, for me, I'd probably be one of these guys that would be wrecked at a college party and start streaking round about the uni, and it'd get filmed. It'd be something like that.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank.
We're going streaking!
Probably would be left myself to date, to be fair, by the way. But I would be one of these guys that'd be wrecked.
I've seen you in a hot tub, mate. Definitely you'd be on your own.
Aye, definitely. You know what I mean? So maybe I could listen with that much money. I could maybe be a bit more persuasive than what I am now. So who knows? Maybe be able to convince a couple of people to join me. But wrecked at a college party or something like that. I can't see me just being abusive. I'm not an abusive drunk. I'm more of a lover than a fighter. So I like to. I think it'd get in more that route.
You'd be more likely. No, I'm not getting in that. I'm not getting alive. We're alive right now. That's not live.
Aye, let's not.
Scud, what about you, mate? Because let's face it, for folk who probably don't, we've all known each other for years, right? So, but Scuddy, me and you went back 25 years, something like that. We have been in just about every situation known to man. So have a think back through some of these. What would get you cancelled?
I don't know. It's generally get my clothes off and run about. I'm honest to him, but I used to date on a weekend basis.
You still do?
I know. New Year, taps off, singing Moana. You're welcome. Brilliant tune.
You weren't exactly singing it. You knew about 2 words. You're welcome.
Thank you. I actually don't know what would get me.
I'm noticing a theme here, lads. You know, the fact he's like to get naked. I think we've got a couple of perverts in our hands.
Hey, listen, let's start warning people about it before we do it first. They're like some of these NFL guys that just get naked and don't warn people about it. I'm sure we can dive a bit further into that another day.
But you're rich, you're allowed to do whatever you want. You can just buy people. You heard OBJ. Like, I'll just get my private jet home while you're eating your cheese board or something. Whatever it is. I don't know what would get me cancelled. I've got too many things that get me cancelled, I think.
What's broadcastable?
No, that one. No, definitely that one. No, that. No, my charm and good look would never get me cancelled. I'd just be like, pose, that's me. Sorted.
Your modesty might get you cancelled, though.
Oh, that's true. I might just think I'm a dick. We'll see if we can get banned for YouTube before the days out. That'll probably be it.
I got a challenge and a half considered some of the stuff on YouTube, to be fair.
But to be fair, we're all sound guys, you know. I was going to say another word, but that's not right. So we're sound guys. And you see some of the stuff the NFL players do get manned for, that was pretty minimal, really, for OBJ. At the end of the day, what was he doing? A bit steaming, fell asleep and couldn't get his seatbelt on or something like that. It wasn't like he was a bloody Henry Ruggs or a Watson or Big Ben or any of these things that are, you know, up to no good, shooting people and Hernandez and all this sort of stuff. That stuff gets you cancelled. You know, OBJ will still sign with a team, will still get $1 million or a 10 million quid contract or something. So I think we're doing all right. What we got to do, sit with a bottle of Bucky or something like that and have a sing-song. That's probably more likely to happen, isn't it?
I know. We're all far too tame to be NFL players. Albeit some of those are allegedly, remember, Danny? Not all of them actually happened.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly. The key word.
Well, some of the stuff in TMZ then, like some of your heroes battering lumps at their better halves.
Again, listen, the Tyreek Hill one, he was never ever charged on it, I believe.
You paid it off.
Stu wants to report us. I'm offended, Stu. But let's face it, we know what you're up to. You know,
he's in Canada. He's on a whole different law system.
Unless it's Michael Vick the
Aye, the old dog fighting ring.
Right, let's move on because we will end up getting ourselves cancelled if we continue this route. In fact, we would either end up divorced, cancelled, or probably in jail. The FBI will be chapping doors at 6 o'clock in the morning. So let's move on. I don't think I was going to get through some news. I'm touching a couple of bits and pieces, I suppose. Derek Carr's just said these cheery byes to Raiders Nation. He's out the door. I've seen that coming anyway. He was, he was benched and told to get out of the building, or he left the building, whatever one it was, in a huff.
He says he wanted to move out so he wasn't a distraction, apparently. So he didn't want to be a distraction for Stidham, who said Tom Brady sitting in front of him, and let's face it, if you've got Tom Brady sitting in front of you, Cam, Cam could have been a distraction with some of his clean states, to be fair. But I think
misogyny.
I forgot about that as well. I think Stidham's used to having high caliber quarterbacks in front round about him, so I don't think Carr being there would have been a distraction. So I think it was definitely a case of.
Oh, he took the huff.
Say the huff. It could have been embarrassment more than anything else. But I don't think he was the Raiders' problem this year.
Yeah,
part of it, yes, but not all of it.
Well, I think I saw a tweet or something like that ranking the defences that he's had on his 9 years or something like that. I don't think there's many higher than like 22nd, so that's always been an issue for them. He was obviously in course for that MVP season where he then broke his leg. Never really looked the same, I didn't think, after that, but he's it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, whether he could do a sort of Stafford and go find a team and a coordinator and somebody can actually buy into him, get him working. He is a good quarterback. Is he elite? No. But, can you win games with him? Can you, possibly go on deep run in the playoffs? Probably. There's plenty of teams out there that's got to need a quarterback this season. So I guess we'll wait and see where he ends up and see who ends up, whether it's Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady that ends up in Vegas, divorced. 30 million quid when you go into Vegas. What could go wrong?
Listen, that division's too hard for Brady. He'll not get into that division.
He'll be in TMZ by the end of the year if he goes there.
for a lot worse than what OBJ did.
Fox will be remember that 350 million quid contract or something.
He's scared because he owns Mahomes, so you don't want him to go there.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. Right, lads, we could talk about this. I was going to say we can talk about it this week, but since Mahomes has the asterisks by falling on for last week, we don't need to talk about him, thankfully, and we don't need to talk about the Eagles, who got a legitimate bye. We will start talking about, though, lads. First game up this weekend, Saturday evening, we have the Seattle Seahawks out at the 49ers. Was that 7-2 seeds? How do you see this one playing out? This one, I think is one of the easier ones, but again, I'm just not entirely sure how this will match up. The spread now, I think it started about 10, and it's still about 10, minus 10 for or minus 9.5 for 49ers. It's got to be one-sided, isn't it? In it, studs, come on. Tell me how it's going to be a close game and how the Seahawks win this.
I would love to back Harry. We've spoke about it in umpteen podcasts. The 49ers defense has been elite. We've covered that. We don't need to get into it. Guys like Hufanga in there's having a great season. Bosa's probably going to get Defensive Player of the Year. Whether you believe it should be him or not, much to Stu's discussed. I can't believe Stu's actually backing Garrett for that. He's a Bengals fan. He's batting a Brown for it, but that's another story. 49ers defense elite. The Seahawks offense has been misfiring. I don't think they've looked great in the latter half of the season. That Kenneth Walker's not been able to get going. Geno's not been able to get going. We spoke about Lockett as well earlier on in the week and how underrated he is. I don't know if is he back to full fitness? I think he was playing at the weekend. I might say, but
I got a cracker there, pass me. Gino.
So he did actually for the touchdown, aye. And then you've got Metcalf as well, who wants to stick fingers in people's face masks and headbutt them. So I can't see it, to be honest. I think the 49ers, CMC fully fit, Brock Purdy playing well.
Well, CMC's never fully fit. Let's not get carried away there. He's still questionable. He is questionable. I'm pretty sure he is. He's permanently questionable. So,
aye. The 49ers running back room's permanently questionable. Just ask Mostert and Jeff Wilson, they two come out of that and constantly probably had one leg. But I don't see it either.
Mitchell's back as well. That's going to take all some of the pressure off CMC as well, which is never going to be a good thing for.
They not get Mason as well in there making some plays.
Everybody loves Mason.
Quite you. No, aye, but that's a great point. I'm just kind of looking at some of the stats here. So their last 5 games, the Seahawks, they beat the Rams 19-16. They beat the Jets 23-6. They get beat off Kansas City 24-10. They get beat off San Francisco. And that was on the 16th of December, 21-13. And Carolina beat them 30-24. You know, the last 5 games, they've not got above 24 points. The Rams rushed 146 yards on them. It doesn't stack up. And then when you look at the other side, as I said, they've not played a lot of great teams in there. Obviously, a couple of wins against the Jets and the Rams, but let's face it, you know, the crew could probably give them half a game. But look at the other side, the offense of San Francisco was at 38 points, 37 points, 37 points, 21 points, and 35 points. You know, and they've not, well, actually gave 34 points up to Vegas, but yeah, that's an offense that is absolutely on fire. And we've got one that's kind of just ticking over. It's not looking good, is it? I would love to. I wish Keith was on it and he wasn't broken down somewhere in Bandit Country for like ding 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 ding. So
is it on London Road?
I don't know.
I'm sure this is London Road. Well, that is Bandit Country as far as I'm concerned.
But to be fair, even Keith picked the 49ers and the Pick'ems.
Oh, did he? Oh, of course, nobody picked the Seahawks this week in the crew. What goes wrong when we all kind of go with the same team? But Scotty, come on, you tell me how are the Seahawks going to win this? Come on, you can give me a good reason. What about Woolen? What about that defense? Do you think they're going to step up? Kenneth Walker run right through them?
No.
Oh, come on, the people want entertained. Make something up.
Me that much. They've got offensive weapons, but is Singleton going to have enough time to throw the ball? Geno Smith's not got enough time to throw the ball. You've got 2 good wide receivers and you've got a good running back, but you're not going to get the time to do it. I thought it was going to be a blowout until you told me there, but the game in the 16th of December, I didn't think it was as close as that. So maybe it won't be the bigger blowout we're all thinking about if it wasn't that bad then. But I just honestly can't see it.
Divisional rivals, though, you know, surely form goes out the window. You know, does Pete Carroll have one over Kyle Shanahan? The last 5 times they met, yeah, okay, twice this year it was, where was it? 21-13 and 27-7. So San Francisco's beaten them twice over the last, this year in their divisional games. But then the 3 over the last, before that, over the last couple of seasons, it's all Seahawks.
But San Francisco didn't have any quarterbacks at that point.
So you're saying it's all falls on the shoulders of Big Cock Brock?
Big Cock Brock.
He's proven himself, might not be elite, but he's proven himself adequate to keep that offense going. And that's all San Francisco need.
But what about the fact he is a rookie quarterback? He's had 6-7 starts, whatever it might be. First playoff game, bum starts twitching, the nerves kick in, a couple of wayward passes, wee wobble on there. As I say, we've got possible defensive rookie of the year, Woolen up snatching a few of them out there. Could it happen? Come on. Or is it spread right? Is it going to be 9.5 points and it's going to be, you know, all done and dusted by 8 o'clock your time?
If they can stop the run game and not let CMC and all that run through them, then of course they've got a chance, as you say, he's a rookie quarterback. There is a chance that he can shit the bed.
Well, the last time we played each other on the 16th of December, San Francisco rushed for 170 yards. So that's concerning. So the thing is, if they don't need him to throw the ball, then you're taking that aspect out of it. They need to be able to stop that run. And how can it's a really good run game to stop.
Who's been his favourite target recently? Think of the last couple of 49 games.
Kittle and Ayuk have been stepping
up. I'm pretty sure the Seahawks are up there with the Cardinals, I think, in one of the worst teams against the tight ends. So Kittle, as much as he's a great run blocker as well, he is also a very handy tight end to have, and he's showed that the last couple of weeks. And a quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, his safety blanket is that tight end. So for me, I see Kittle having a monster day on Saturday.
Heard it here first. We're going to do a pick'ems now. It's not a fantasy pick'ems, of course. It's just who the hell do you think was going to stand out and do well. So we'll come to that later. You just may have had a wee spoiler there.
I've stepped on somebody's toes.
It's all good, mate. It's all good. Right, let's move on to the next game then, right? Because that one's a blowout. This one, I think, is going to be a coin toss. We are going to be looking at AFC Wildcard. It is the Chargers at the Jaguars. As it stands, the spread is -1.5 for the for the Chargers. This is pretty much a toss of a coin. Is it, Scuddy?
Yep, I'd 100% definitely. But I'm I think I'm leaning towards the Chargers. If they've got all their weapons fit, it's going to be hard for them to stop them.
Well, just on that note, just before we went live, I was flicking about on Twitter and saw that Mike Williams was not seen at practice today.
Well, that might change my...
And live on air, Scud changes his mind.
No, I've still got to go with it because the Jags, although they got through the one last week, it might have been nerves, but how much is his nerves going to hold up in his first, as you said, it's his first playoff game? How's Lawrence going to cope with that pressure?
Manny's Justin Herbert played in the playoffs.
I don't know. But he's more experienced, but he's still more experienced as a quarterback. No?
What, a year, maybe?
But he still has more game time. To me, he's a better quarterback, but...
Oh, no, that's a debate for the off-season, isn't it? Who's a better quarterback, Herbert or Lawrence? Who's got the potential? Who's going to be the first to win a Lombardi? Well, we'll see. Could be any of them. I think some people are saying that, I think we mentioned last week, when they were talking about dark horses, and Sunday on it, I can't remember, was it you, Studs? Said the Chargers, or was it Brian?
That wasn't me. I would not have said that about Chargers.
We'll probably say that about Brian. He's a Browns fan. What does he know about football?
He comes out with crazy statements.
Right. These teams met on the 25th of, October? What's the 9 month? We'll say October, right? And Jacksonville won 30-10.
Jacksonville absolutely dominated them.
Destroyed them. Does that have any impact then? They've already faced each other. They know each other. But was that a banged-up Chargers team back then? Are they actually getting healthy? Are they fit? What are we seeing here, Studs?
I think that was definitely a banged-up Chargers team. Herbert didn't have Allen, I don't think, in that game. He didn't have Williams, who's thrown to Carter and Palmer, I think, as his primary weapons. And one of them might have actually been out as well, if I remember right. So it was definitely a banged-up Chargers team. But the Chargers have been banged up all season. They started losing their offensive line during the off-season. I think they lost 2 guys for the season in the off-season. And their offensive line's been letting people through to Herbert all season. So for me, that Jags defense, as much as Trevor Lawrence didn't look great against the Titans, the Jags defense was still getting through against the Titans, who are and they were stuffing Derrick Henry. It took him, 30 attempts to get 70 or was it 70 odd yards or something like that, 100 odd yards, 30 attempts, I can't remember. But
yeah.
They were slowing him down. He was something like 2-3 yards average a carry. So
the Jags 9 yards on 30 carries.
The Jags defense has been stepping up, And if they're going to get through on that offensive line, Herbert's going to be running for his life. And that's where it's going to be for me.
The same could be said about the Chargers now. The Chargers are starting to get a pass rush. You've got Bosa back. You've got Mac and Van Noy stepping up big in the last couple of weeks. So to me, Lawrence is going to be under a lot of pressure as well. So how can they hold up?
Have you been practicing ventriloquism, Scud?
Your picture's frozen. You can just see you talk. Oh, that was class.
Right, well, Scuddy, right, well, here's something again. I'm just kind of just throwing grenades about here.
You're a shit stirrer.
I've been called worse. Last 5 games, they've won 4 of them. They lost last week to Broncos, which, again, I was going to say they didn't play their starters, but these idiots did play their starters, and that's why they've got folk injured. But Denver, Rams, Colts, Titans, Miami in the last 5 weeks. It's not exactly a tough schedule, is it? That's a lot of average to below average teams there. And just to be even up, we've got the last 5 teams that Jags played is Tennessee, Houston, Jets, Dallas, and Tennessee again. And they won all of them. Are these 2 teams that kind of flattering just due to the fact that they're on a good run? They've won 4 or 5 games in a row, but actually it's been against pretty mediocre teams. Like, are these actual contenders at the end of the day, or do you think that they actually have a bit to them?
No, whoever wins this is one and done. If you ask me, they're not going to get it further in it. But you're right, they both have not played. I think the Chargers had the easiest schedule, or was it the Chiefs? It was one of the two. Those 2 of them were up there with the easiest run.
Chiefs had the hardest schedule overall in the season, boys.
My backside. You made it look hard work, but
telling you, Chiefs had the hardest schedule.
Mate, he's nearly lost to the Broncos.
That's why they get the asterisks.
You know what good nearly is, didn't you?
When you nearly win the Super Bowl.
Right, well, let's get off the Chiefs, right? They're not playing this week. They've got their asterisks by. We're not dealing with it.
I never brought up the Chiefs.
But we'll put it this way, right? Studs, since you are a Chiefs fan, and I don't want to hear about the Chiefs, but what I do want to know is, because am I right in thinking that the winner of this plays your mob? Would that be right?
The low-seeded team.
Is it
a low-seeded team? So technically, if the Ravens bet the Bengals, for example, then it would be the Ravens, because I think they're 6. So Chargers are 5.
Well, just assume one of these end up playing you. Who would you rather see? Because me and Scud, Pats fans, we don't have this problem of, who would we rather our team faced, because we're not in the playoffs. So since your team's still in the playoffs, out of these 2 teams, who would you rather face?
I think we bet both of them during the regular season, but probably, if I was being honest, I'd probably rather face the Chargers again, purely because it was a divisional round, it's against one of your rivals. I think it'd make for a better game, but I wouldn't fear any of the 2 of them. To be honest, I'd think of what are we talking? So you're talking Dolphins, Ravens, Chargers, Jags. I don't fear any of those teams in particular. I think the Bills and Bengals, will come down to close games, but I wouldn't fear any of those other teams at all. Based on how they're playing.
I'm trying to get your take on these teams. Come on, stick focus. Right? Get those red and yellow tinted specs off and focus on these 2 teams for 2 minutes. Studs, come on.
I did say I'd probably rather face the Chargers. I think the Jags defense for me, is probably playing slightly higher, at a higher level than the Chargers. Take Scud's point on board, as they say about Kyle Van Noy. I think Kyle Van Noy has probably had a superb second half of the season. I think Khalil Mack I genuinely can't think of watching a game and even seeing him. He could have been sitting on the bench for all I knew. I genuinely don't think he's done anything. I think they've lost Bosa, so that's obviously impacted their defence as well. But I'd probably rather face the Chargers. I think the Jags defence for me is a bit better than the Chargers, so that's where I'd probably say I'd rather see the Chargers.
Scuddy, who wins this game and how do they win it?
Good Chargers. As I said earlier, I've still got the feeling the Chargers will win it. just purely due to the offence. And I take Suds's point on board about the defence, but Herbert's been dealing with that all season, so I think he'll manage to get the ball out quick enough and avoid the pass rush to get the ball out. And I just think they've got better weapons than the Jags overall in offence.
Do you think they can establish the run, or do you think they can actually get a run game going?
No, I don't think I like Eckler. I don't think he's a true number 1 3-down back, in my opinion. I would rather you'd be accompany him with someone personally. I just don't think he's. Nah, I think he's more of a sort of third down. Not he can still take a run up the middle, but I think he's more of a accompaniment rather than a true number 1.
So you're going to hope that Herbert's going to throw for about 350 yards. Well,
but you still get out the backfield to catch. You still need to be able to plenty of run after the catch. There will have to be plenty of that because you'll have the slants and the check downs to Eckler, and then he can work his magic because he's a great receiver as well as a runner.
Right, Studs. Same question to you. Who's going to win and how do they win it? What do they do?
Jags for me, and it's going to be in the back of Travis Etienne. I think the Chargers' run defense has been piss poor all season. Etienne, wasn't great against the Titans, but the Titans are notoriously good run defense. So for me, Travis Etienne, on the back of him, I think the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers can stop him. I think you've got 17 games that shows that they can't stop the run.
There you go. That's it. It's split here. I'm going for the Jags. I think the Jags win it, to be honest. Just not seen enough. I think they're more explosive offensively. I think their defense has really stepped them up. I like the pressure like Jenkins is getting. I'm going with Jags. Home team.
Do you think Staley's in the hot seat if the Chargers go out in this round?
Possibly. I think he's. They might give him one more season, but again, it's one of these things that I think if they can get, say, Sean Payton or something in, then I think they would.
See you later.
Pull the trigger on him. But considering the injuries and everything that's went on, they've done reasonably well. They've stuck around, they've hung a bit, but there is the window, the Super Bowl window, utilising these stud rookies and while they're on the cheap deals and getting weapons and roundabout. And everybody looked at that team and thought, and they've got Allen, Williams, Eckler. They've then added JC Jackson, Khalil Mack. You've got Joey Bosa in there. This is a stud. I think I retweeted, or not retweeted, but I reshared in our WhatsApp group our predictions for the start of the year. And I think I had the Chargers to win.
You did. It was noted.
Yeah. I thought you might. I thought you might. Yeah,
you weren't the only one. In fairness, there was a few boys picked the Chargers to win that division.
But you can understand why when you just rhyme off the talent that I've got there. Now, are you saying some of the stuff I was reading there? Folk were saying. I think it was the Irish NFL show podcast I was listening to. It was about the Giants. They were doing a bit of deep dive on it, and they started off by basically saying coaching matters. You look at the Giants; they've not got the best squad of players in the world, but well coached, hard to beat, and they're in there. Whereas you can say, I know they've played with injuries, the Chargers, but they do have a talented team there, and they actually get maximised. And I'm not so sure. So, but anyway, right, let's crack on, right, because we've still got loads more games to go to. This one we're going to look at is an AFC showdown. It is the Miami Dolphins, and they're going up to Orchard Park up to see the Buffalo Bills, who should be number 1 seed, no asterisks. How do we see this one going? Tua's not playing; he's already out, so it might be Teddy B with a sore pinky playing, or Skylar Thompson. What's the spread? minus 13. That's
could be minus 30 and I'd still take the Bills.
That's a bit. Sorry, not the current one. Sorry, is minus 10.5. So it must have started at minus 13. So I don't know where I've seen this here, but yeah, I've got minus 10.5. But either way, again, this is looking like another one and done. Personally, I've not been that impressed by either 7 seed coming in. I think whoever was coming in there, whether it was Miami, whether it was the Pats, the Steelers, we're going to walk into an absolute buzzsaw. And we're going to go one and done, straight back out again. So why don't we keep it going the exact same sort of way? Studs, tell us how Miami win this game.
I think it's the silence probably says it all. For me, they can't. They're, as you said, they've not been impressed with them recently. Obviously, Tua start of the season, Tua looked great. He was using the weapons. He was hitting Hill. He was hitting Waddle. I think Waddle's been banged up latter half of the season. So that's obviously put more pressure on Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's still going to get his catches. He really is.
But he been down with an ankle injury at the tail end of the Jets game.
Sorry,
the starter. So I think he's fit enough to play, but he's obviously not a full cheater. He's maybe got a limp in one of his paws or something like that. You know.
It's probably still faster than the Bills secondary. To be fair, it's probably faster than half the NFL with one leg. But for me, and the thing is, I don't think the Bills secondary is great. I said that again. I said it earlier on in the season on one of the pods. I felt the Bills' defense, everybody was hyping them up. I feel they're probably an average defense. They're somewhere in the middle, considering the defenses that we see across the NFL. So for me, I think if they had two, I would give them a shot. I'd probably say it'd be less than 10. But as I said, when you started reading off the spread, this could be minus 30, and I'd still fancy Buffalo to beat Miami.
All right, okay. Well, that's a good thing. Right, Scud. Right, I'll put it to you then. The 18th of December, the two teams faced off, and it finished Buffalo 32, Miami 29. And on the 25th of September, October, sometime then, right? It was earlier on in the season. I can't do my maths here.
Miami, week 3, was it no?
Miami won 21-19. So they're close games. They're a lot closer than a 10-point spread. Do you think it will be a close game? Do you think Miami might give them a wee bloody nose, but ultimately come up short? Or is this a blowout?
No, it's a blowout. You said the games. In those games, they had Tua. In the beginning of the season, they were flying when they won. So it's different team. It's completely a different team from what it was then. They've just... The Dolphins are... You said I wasn't impressed with them towards the end. They're always going to be a one-and-done team, the number 7 seed, because you're always going to walk into New York and get blown out. So there's nothing. The Bills, even when they've not played well, they've still been winning games because they didn't play over well against us in the first half, but still come out easily on top in the second once Josh Allen started to get going. So I don't see them being able to stop them. The Dolphins defense hasn't been great, and they've no offense to back up this time. So
what I will say, see the last game at Orchard Park, and this was something that really puzzled me. As much as we're saying, obviously, Tua was playing, Mostert had an unbelievable first half. I think he was 120, 130 yards in the first half, and then it was as if they stopped using him in the second half. Just literally stat lines was non-existent in the second half. It could have been the Bills maybe made adjustments. I don't think I watched the second half. I think I might have fell asleep or something like that because I was drunk, but that's by the by. But the first half, Mostert was doing damage. So if they can get... I think he's a better back than Jeff Wilson, personally. So if they can get Mostert, if he's fit, which again is probably as big enough as CMC, as we said earlier on, if they can get him going, they could do some damage, but I just don't. I'm struggling to see it because if they've not got that QB that's going to put a bit of feed of the pass into the Bills, then they're going to stack up against the run.
Yeah, the last time they faced off, there was 188 yards. They gave up 107 yards to the Pats last week. As I say, I thought we were pretty competitive in that game. We know about the 2 kickoff returns that you kind of get up 14 points to a team like Buffalo and even think you can win. But yeah, it's going to be hard to see in it. The fact Buffalo, the last games, 35 points, 32 points, 20 points against the Jets, who are a good defense, and 24 points against us. They're starting to get cooking. You've seen Allen throwing some absolute dimes against us, Diggs and one John Brown. Yeah, to be honest, I don't see much point. I think it'll be close on the spread. I think you could. I would bet the Dolphins with the spread here. I just don't see that being that much a blowout. I think they'll still make it competitive, but I just do not see anybody else win it. So let's move on, because I think there's a couple of cracking games coming up here. I don't want to really focus too much on the blowout. So next one we will look at, lads, is the New York Football Giants are at Minnesota Vikings. I think this one to me again is a total flip of a coin. This could go any way. Does MD really believe in either of these teams? Who could cause an upset? Right, Scud, tell me your thoughts. On you go.
No, I do think I think it's going to be an interesting game. You say you've got a team that's got a lot of talent, and you've got a team that's well coached. It's going to be an interesting one. How does New York deal with Jefferson? Does Cousins have a primetime game and lay an egg, or does he play well? But I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game. This is one that I'm actually really looking forward to, because I think it's going to be a competitive game. I don't believe in either of the teams, as you asked there. No, I do believe this will probably be a more like the Jags and Chargers. It'll be a one and done.
Ooh, but controversial.
I just think it will be a good game to watch. Similar to the Jags and Chargers, I think these will be good games, but I don't see them laying a glove on Eagles or the 49ers, to be honest with you, who I think is the strongest team in the division. So I think I've picked the Giants. I don't know why that was, but I just don't have any faith in the Vikings at this moment in time.
Now, these teams met on Christmas Eve, and what was it, 27-24? Minnesota won. Something tells me this was the Joseph 61-yard field goal. Was it the walk-off field goal?
Mm-hmm.
And the spread of this one is -3 as well. So they're basically saying again, there's a field goal in it. There's not much here. Studs, who's your money on? Do you think Thibodeau and company are going to shut down Justin Jefferson and Kirk Thuggins and get primetime Kirk out the door, or how do you think this is going to go?
I'm on the fence with this one as well. I think this is one I could talk myself into either side. Ultimately, I think. Listen, I think something we've probably covered in previous podcasts. Can you really stop Justin Jefferson? I think the only one that's done it so far is probably Jair Alexander, and let him know about it in the recent games.
And get the last laugh there.
Exactly. Vikings are still playing. The Packers are in, I don't know, Cancun or something. They're on their holidays anyway. For me, I think if I remember right, I think I've took the Vikings in the spread. So I'm probably just sway that way. I just think I think it's the weightings that sways me. You're looking at Thielen, Jefferson, Cook, even Mattison if Cook's still banged up. And KG Osborne's actually having a sneaky good season for them as well.
He's having great, isn't he?
Do you know what I mean? So he's had a really good season for them as well. The Giants. Listen, Daniel Jones has probably had an underrated season as well. Let's be brutally honest about this. I think he's the second quarterback to have 700 plus yards and thrown less than 5 interceptions. I'm trying to think who the other one was. I did hear it earlier on the day. But I think Jones has had a sneaky good season as well. Barkley was flying at the start of the season, probably dipped off a wee bit recently. He doesn't seem to have been able to get going. So I think that you look at who Jones has thrown to, I think that's kind of what sways me to the Vikes. Vikes have got better targets ultimately.
So last weekend, Kenny Galladay caught a touchdown pass. Come on, convince me he's a difference maker in this game. He's got to rack up like 200 yards and like 6 touchdowns or something. He's got to moss that entire Vikings defense, isn't he?
Yeah, but lucky if it's a snap. Never mind on the touchdown.
Hey, this could be the resurgence. Just we're going to be calling him Playoff Kenny.
There's a reason they started last week, so they want any other good players to get hurt.
Well, a wide receiver, you're maybe talking good player. I don't think there's not much more than...
No, there's not much.
There is a...
They started all the ones they wanted to run him with this week, that's for sure. But there'll be James, etc. For their targets. But it'll be interesting to see. I know what Stud's just saying, but I just don't know if the Giants, I've just got a feeling will do it. They're a well-coached team. They've surpassed what I thought they were going to do this year, and if it all ends up. But I don't know. I just got a sneaky feeling they might do it.
Well, that's what I was sort of getting just about get to. The point I sort of made earlier when we were talking about the Giants, when I was saying, what would kind of come up with is like coaching matters. Now, what's his name? Kevin O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously had a great season. Offensively, superb. Defensively,
meh.
Brian Dable, obviously, with Wink Martindale in there, the defence, that they're looking good. That could be a real difference maker. Let's face it, just how well coached this team is. So, I think in our picks, I've went for the Vikings. Just I think the home field advantage. I think got to give them that. The jealousy that's worth 3 points, a field goal. So we'll give them that, and that kind of shows up with the spread. But this is a genuine. Could go anyway. We've seen what the Vikings can do when it comes to tough situations. Back to Blair Walsh missing kicks, or we've seen the flip side. Greg Joseph, or we've seen the Minnesota Miracle with Stephon Diggs, against the Saints a few years ago. So yeah, I am finding this one really tough to call, and I think it'll be an absolute cracking game to watch. I think this one for me is that's the game of the weekend. That's the one that's properly fascinating. I think the Chargers and that will be, Jags. That'll be an interesting game. It's got to be close. This one, though, I think is actually two decent teams who could cause an upset. I think we were kind of unanimous, sort of in the last podcast about our dark horse for the playoffs in the NFC, who could get there. You kind of take out the 49ers, take out the Eagles. With the teams that's sort of remaining, to me, I would sort of look at them going, okay, well, who's well coached here? Danny Dimes is having a great season for his standards, and he's playing well. And the Giants,
I had to get that in there for his
compliment. Yeah. Well, you're not going to give him an MVP. No, and I did mean that way, kind of genuine, kind of respect to him, because he is playing really well. Yeah, he's not at a Mahomes level or a Hurts level this year, but he's been more than competent. He's carried them, won games. You look at the receiving weapons that they've got. They've not got a huge amount there, but they're playing pretty well. They're winning games, and considering Dable's first kind of season, you've got to be impressed with what they're doing. I do fancy them, but as I say, I'm just kind of swinging towards the Vikings, but I wouldn't be surprised if they fall flat on their face and it turns into another Green Bay type game where they get absolutely destroyed either, because that's the batshit crazy way this Vikings team is. You just don't know who's showing up. They give 30-point head starts to the Colts. That's just, you can't do that. They give up 41 points to Green Bay. Just looking at some of these other ones, 24 points to the Giants, 34 points to Detroit. You'd be, this could go really anyway. But yeah, I'm going to say a big game for JJ. He's got to be the difference maker. Not going to be able to contain him, and he's going to go off for many, many yards, 150 plus, 2 touchdowns. He'll be the main man for me.
Yeah. Get your money on it.
That's how you heard it here. That's as good as printing money. You'd as well just drawing a picture of Charles and a note and just taking it to the shop, get yourself a nice chocolate bar or something.
Do you think we get the Danny Dimes sniper coming back?
No. It'd be tremendous if we did, though.
Oh, Murdo would be fizz.
I'm home to get back in time for this. I've got a flight home for Dublin. I think it's about 7 o'clock at night or something like that. So I'm hoping I can land, get up the road in time to put my feet up and enjoy this game. That's what my intent is. If not, it might be something on my phone while somebody else drives. Because, well, if I'm going to be in Dublin at 6 o'clock, there's a chance I'm going to have a few Guinnesses during the day.
You're not driving.
No. Right. Aye. Right. Any final thoughts on this game, lads, before we move on? We'll get two more to look at. But can I leave it hanging there?
Should be. Sorry. But let's move on.
There we go. Right, next up, lads. Ravens
seamless,
at Bengals.
Absolutely seamless.
Another divisional game here. It would have been a cracker a wee while ago. We've got the Ravens, at the start of the season with Lamar. They were looking pretty competitive, pretty competent team. Of late, with Huntley, quarterback, it's not looking good for Lamar. I don't know if he's officially out yet, but it's not looking good for him anyway. I don't even know if he's back training, so let's consider him out. Bengals are on fire now. I think they're playing really well, all phases of the ball. Again, is there any argument to be made that the Ravens are going to win this game? Scuddy?
No, yeah, you get a Ryan Coggle for that, because my brother took the Ravens in the pick'em, so I don't know what he was smoking or drinking at the point, but
something that's got to get him banned for TMZ.
We did have that discussion. We felt Kev was probably the most likely to get banned first.
Definitely. He's love for fascists, but we'll not. But sorry, that's an in-joke. We shouldn't have in-jokes. But let's just leave that one hanging out there. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Kevin on Twitter, they can ask him themselves. I've lost my train of thought now.
Ravens, Bengals. Can the Ravens win?
No.
6.5 point favourites, the Bengals are. Does that sound about right?
I would say it's a good touchdown. I would say probably more than a touchdown in it, to be honest with you. But
let's face it, the Ravens probably have the best defence playing now in the league. If you go current for them over the last few weeks, Roquan Swift just get paid handsomely. The man is rolling about in these Benjamins. They could slow down Joe Burrow. He likes to sling the ball about. He's got a couple of interceptions in there. Can they make life tough for him? Because teams are not putting up massive numbers on. And I'm not looking much at the game what happened last week. At the end of the day, that was. Or can we take in from it? From I can gather, the Ravens. I didn't watch much of that game, but I gathered the Ravens didn't really play too many players. They kind of put out whatever players they could.
They did manage to slow Burrow down as well at some points of it. So even with not a full strength team, they were slowing him down.
They did. And if you look at what they've done, they've held Pittsburgh to 16 points and 14 points, Cleveland 13 points, Atlanta 9 points, and then that last game there, week 18, Cincinnati 27 points. That defence is worth talking about. That is a legit D. So, Studs, have I just given you the answer then? Is that how the Ravens win this game?
That is how the Ravens win this game. Ultimately, it's can the defence carry them enough to slow down Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Mixon, the lot of them. So, and they have done it. I was looking earlier on the season to get a kind of rough idea of what they've done. So, week 5, they only gave up 17 points to Cincinnati. Again, they've kept it competitive.
But they've not scored more than 19.
Aye, that scoring's going to be their problem. Obviously, they protected, Snoop Huntley this week by keeping him out just in case Lamar didn't play. I don't know. I didn't see J.K. Dobbins at the weekend either. Makes sense. J.K. Dobbins, I think, was kept out as well, if I remember right as well. I don't remember seeing him.
No, if they have to win, they need Dobbins to a good game. They need to establish the run if they've got any chance of winning.
Aye, they need to make sure his two legs can run at the same speed, to be fair, because he says one leg's slower than the other.
Just run in circles.
That's right. Did you not see that when he was coming back from his injury? He literally said his left leg isn't as fast as his right leg. And I'm like, how does that work?
He's done a hopping contest. He just hops one way.
Honestly.
I made my feelings clear, I think, last week when I said that I think the Bengals are the kind of dark horses, or no dark horses, the on-form team. They're getting hot. But I guess I could caveat that with, I watched the first half, I think it was. No, sorry, it was the second half against Tampa Bay, where they completely collapsed And okay, they still won the game, but they still, they had a commanding lead, and then they let Tom Brady back in, and it looked like Brady was going to do Brady things again. And then I watched them for the second half against the Patriots, I think it was. And again, Patriots should have won that game. If it wasn't for Mondre Stevenson coughing up a fumble, which again, the refs helped him out with, it shouldn't have been, we were probably going to go and win that game. Well, come on.
Bloody refs.
Bloody refs, you know what they're like. Biased against us, that's it. But no, for me, in those instances, like when they're on form, they are on form. I'd say they would beat every single team in the NFL, but they seem to have these kind of blips where they just sort of go off the rails a bit, things that don't work. Don't know if it's a bit of, complacency or something into their game or what's going on there. But is that a cause for concern in this game, that they might just take the Ravens lightly? Or again, is it because they're a divisional rival, they know them inside out, they hate them dirty birds or whatever the hell they call the rat birds or whatever, and they will want to just stomp in their throats?
I think ultimately you've got to put faith in Burrow. The guy's been in enough championships and playoff games through his college career and his NFL career. He knows what he's doing. Now, would you then say, is it been play calling, or has it been on Burrow the reason? So, or is it going back to what you were saying about coaching and stuff like that? So, there is an issue there, and the fact that they are taking their foot off the gas. But you ultimately, for me, put your faith in Burrow. You think he's good enough to. So far, what he's shown us, he's good enough when to turn it on and when to relax, essentially. And he seems to be able to turn it back on when to do just enough just now. And I think as well, last week, obviously coming back off of what had happened in Buffalo, I think you can kind of caveat that into the last performance against the Ravens. Maybe that had an impact on some of the players. Maybe why they didn't play as well, possibly.
Scuddy.
Yeah, man.
Who's the difference maker in this game? Who's got to be the MVP of this game at the end of
it? Definitely coming for the Bengals side. I'll go with Jamar Chase.
Cool. State the obvious. I'm kidding.
Jamar Chase, I think, will be good. You could say Burrow if he's got big numbers, but I think Chase, just with his yaks, the yak after it is amazing. So he doesn't even need a good passing to do well.
Call of the yak. I've not watched this show on ages. I need to watch again. No, if there's a weakness, I'd say in the Baltimore team is they give up a lot of rushing yards. They gave up 198 yards to Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, 115 yards to Atlanta. Could this be a big Joe Mixon week? Do you think we could see him and P. Ryan maybe double dunting this one?
I think you're probably looking at more double dunting because I don't think Mixon's even. I don't. 100%. Is he had a
scum doing his flick celebration?
Aye. To be fair, I think that probably put a target on his back if you're the Ravens defence. To be fair, so I think you're more likely to maybe hit him a bit harder after him taking a pass. I don't think
it wasn't really aimed at the Ravens, though. It wasn't them that made the decision, though, was it?
I know, but let's face it. If he's doing it at your expense, he scored a touchdown against you. I know I'd want to hit him harder. Do you know what I mean? Hey, listen, somebody's taking a pass on my field. I want to hit him.
Right, we get any other thoughts on this one? Well, we move on to the final game, the final super wild card. It wasn't enough that it was a wild card weekend. They had to make it super. Can't wait until they change again. It becomes like super duper or something like that. Where does it finish?
All 32 teams are in a Royal Rumble style.
I enjoy it. I'm all up for more football. It's more enjoyment for me. You any other thoughts on this game then, Scotty?
No, not at all. None more to add to that, but sorry.
Studs, you all good?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Right, let's move on to the last game. We have the Dallas Cowboys. They're heading down to Florida to take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one is again, I find this one fascinating. I think this was the kind of, if I was doing a pecking order, this one's second in my list, just into the fact that I have no idea how this game will go. You look at the records and you say the Cowboys are going to walk this one, but having watched the Cowboys over the last few weeks, as I called him Dak INT last week, because that guy just loves throwing up a pick and a pick six. The Bucks, sorry, I just figured if I made a spelling mistake and the wee thing scrolling across the screen. Bucks D's pretty good. Brady in the playoffs. You know, what are we expecting to see here? Is there going to be an upset? Are the Bucks going to do it? And probably get Mike McCarthy fired if they go out? Or does he save his job for another week and on they go? Scotty, go to you.
I can see Tampa doing it, to be honest with you. I just don't know what's happened with the Cowboys. You talk about teams being well coached, they just do not look well coached at all, especially on offense. Dak doing what he's doing, just interceptions galore. It's not like him, but it's just been horrible. It's been really hard to watch the last couple of weeks. Tom Brady, the Bucks have just limped in. I know studs can't stand them, but they've limped in. But at the same time, you've got somebody who's been there and done it. That team's been there and done it, so they've got advantage that way of being there and going all the way. So they've got a wee bit of experience. They're at home. They're out with the dome. I can't see by Tom. I can't see by the Bucks. Don't think they'll go any further, but I just think the Bucks will get Mick McCarthy the sack.
Just admit it. You just love Tom Brady far too much to bet against him, don't you? Just admit it. Come on, we're all friends here. You know,
I'm not had that against you.
Right, studs. What's your counter argument, or do you have one, or do you not?
No, listen. I think I've been quite open in the fact that I'm quite happy to see the Bucks getting put in the bin and no see them until the off season this year. I think they've been brutal to watch. They've just their offensive line's beat up, so I will give them that, and that's obviously why, for me, offensively, Brady's not getting the time to maybe pick his passes as well. So I think they have been beat up, and if they're going into this game with a beat up offensive line against Parsons. I thought Micah Parsons. I was going to go with the whole defense. To be fair, I was going to spread the love a wee bit, but I mean, what are the Cowboys? Probably a top 5 defense, if we were roughly.
Yeah.
On
paper, aye. But we know it's Micah Parsons that's driving them.
Again, just the last 5 weeks I've got here: 23 points to the Texans, 40 points to the Jags, 34 points to the Eagles.
Texans are a juggernaut, though.
26 points to Washington. You know, it's not exactly championship defense form, is it?
No, that isn't, to be fair. But I think, I don't know, the Bucks. Well, they must be. I'd imagine they're probably sub 20 for most of the season, to be honest, in terms of offense. To be honest, in terms of points, I don't think they've exactly been firing up great numbers. I do think this game
17, 30, 19, 23, 7. Yeah. Much more you can say about that. Obviously, Tampa did beat them. Was it the opening game? Was it the opening game of the season? Or the weekend? I think it was.
Did the Cowboys not beat the Bucks? I thought the Cowboys won it.
No, Bucks won 19-3. According to this, the 12th of the 9th, 2022.
Was it last year that the Cowboys went in and beat them?
I think that was the opening game of the season, was it not?
Last year after the Super Bowl.
Aye, I think so.
That's when I'm getting mixed up.
But either way, they've obviously beat them earlier in the season. But I heard a really funny quote. I don't have it to hand, and I wish I did, but I forget who it was. It was somebody on the Bucks come out with a thing. You know, they won the start of this. They won at the start of the season and thought they were the shit. You know, I think they were great, but they look at the records. You know, they know fine well that they're coming up against a good team. They're not exactly. They've been a bit humbled with the way they've been playing. But can you ever rule Tom Brady out of the playoffs? Because there was meant to be that statistic of the fact that it's been going about Twitter all day. It's the kind of Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, didn't he win it? Won the Super Bowl, didn't he win it? Won the Super Bowl, didn't he win it? and it's now the question mark this year of where he's at. So I made a bold prediction when we started this podcast back in, it was October or something like that. I said that I fancied the Bucks to go a deep run into the playoffs. I've backed them in my pick'ems sort of this week just because I don't like what the Cowboys are doing. I think they're getting cold at the very, very worst time. Dak is not playing good football at all. He is throwing things up. Some of his picks are absolutely atrocious. I can see a big game. They've got Carlton Davis back. I'm sure I read that earlier on Twitter as well. I need to get off Twitter. I think I'm on it far too much.
maybe try one.
If anybody who work is watching, I will. But no. No, it's so they're back, and that's obviously a big boost to them. I fancy the Bucks again at home just to do the damage. I can see Mike McCarthy getting sacked by Tuesday morning because this is their Monday night game. This is the one I've got on the Monday. I will not be staying up to watch it. I would love to, but knowing fine well I've got work the next morning, I'm going to be a shut knife. So, so let's pick it, studs.
I think I've went Cowboys, but I think it's going to be. I just think this is going to be a defensive, dogged battle. I think it's going to come down to the defences in this one, and I reckon this is going to be under 21 points.
Ooh. The under? What is the over under? Right, tell me your stuff, Scuddy, while I go have a look.
I just can't see by Tom Brady doing it again. It might be his last time with the Bucks, it might be his last time in the NFL, but I think he's got one more at least playoff game in him to win until he goes and wins it with the Raiders next year.
No, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I've got this open under at 52 points.
That can't be right.
No.
Hey, I'd keep telling you, I read it on the internet, it's true.
It's true. Right? We read the internet.
There's no fallacy on the internet. It's all true. I tell you. There's flat. Who knew? Read it on the internet. Right, let's see what happens. Right, so that's our 6 games. We've went through there, lads. I think we're in for a couple of crackers. I think there'll be a couple of blowouts. I'm looking forward to divisional week. I think that's when it starts to get a bit serious with some of these games. But can he beat the playoffs? Playoff football, that is, and we're going to see a lot of fourth downs going for. We're going to see some wild plays. There's everything on the line. It's exactly what you want, and this is what the whole season's been building up to. Just love a bit of playoff football. What would do next? Let's go and do our picks, right? So I'll quickly do our pick 6. I see the time's getting on. We're a wee bit later than we were meant to be. Studs, come to you. This isn't fantasy related. Just tell us who's your stud. Who's going to be the top QB of Wildcard weekend? Super Wildcard weekend, sorry.
I think there's some very obvious ones, like Josh Allen. I think it's probably an obvious one. I'm going to go Danny Dimes. I'm going to give him a bit of credit. I think he's going to have a good game.
You did hear me when I said stud. Yeah.
Aye.
Right, cool. Just
I said
checking.
I'm giving Murdo some love. I said Upman Brothan's had a rough week with the commentary and stuff like that on Twitter, so I'm giving Murdo some love this week. I think he's obviously shown his rushing ability this year. He's kept the ball out of other teams' hands as well. So I'll give Danny a bit of love and go for him as a stud of the week, even though I've picked the Vikings to get through.
Right, Scud, I'll let you pick, but I don't want an explanation, just one name.
CMC. For quarterback?
Aye, quarterback, mate. I just want a name.
Big Cock Brock.
Big Croc. Maybe did you end it. I'm going to go with Trev, right? I'll go with Trev. Right, Scuddy, top running back. Is it CMC by chance?
Yes, CMC. Maybe I'll go with that one. That's a great idea.
Psychic me. I don't know how that just came in my head. I think that's a fair shout. You get anything different there, Studs?
I kind of alluded to mine earlier. Travis Etienne.
I'll go with Joe Mixon if he's fit. Big question mark. Right, it was meant to be me to do wide receiver. JJ. I know it's an easy pick, but I just said earlier he's got to go for about 200 yards and like 10 touchdowns, or 2 touchdowns, I said, but we'll feel like 10 with the amount of catches he's going to have. Any takers?
No,
Chase.
I think it's hard to see by JJ. I'll throw Keenan Allen in there. I think Keenan Allen will have a good week. He's a slot machine.
Yeah. Well, there we go. A wee sneaky one in there. I'll go for Mike Evans just to see. Right. Who's got to be the best D studs?
49ers for me. I don't think this is close. I think 49ers all day.
Scuddy?
Can't argue against that.
I'm going Bills, but that's just I don't see Miami doing anything, to be honest. Right, top tight end. Who's got the best tight end, Scud?
Oh, I forgot the boy's name.
Kittle.
Unless it's Kittle, you're wrong.
No, the tight end for the Jags. Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Ingram.
I'm going to go Dawson Knox.
After you. Kittle.
Glad we're on agreement here. And kicker. Kicker. Does anybody get a kicker that they particularly like out of this lot? I'll give McPherson. I'll give love to Joseph, the Vikings kicker, because I know he's got to double doink it to break Vikings' hearts just as the Giants sneak in on the buzzer.
They kill Smudger and Shaney. Evil man.
Crossed. Let's make that happen. I love their tears.
Oh man.
Right,
those
lads.
boys are going to murder you.
They can try. Right, final thoughts, lads. That's us done. That was a good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Studs, any final thoughts?
No, just look forward to the football this weekend. As you say, there's going to be a couple of crackers. So, there's definitely a few coin toss games, which will be interesting.
Coin cost.
Toss whatever you want. As long as you do it in the privacy of your own room.
That might get you tricked off TMZ as well.
That very well could, aye.
It's goody.
No, just looking forward to the weekend of football.
Glad to hear it,
as well as. Sorry, bud.
No, don't need to apologise. The form is yours. Go, you can do what you like.
No,
you
I
can
just
sing
said
Moana again if you want.
No, that's only when heavily intoxicated. That and even just to say that the football's on during the day, so it's a good weekend for soccer and NFL.
Aye, definitely. Well, right, I'm going to go to my bed. I'm a tired boy. I'm up early for work in the morning. So thanks very much, lads. That was an absolute cracking show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait for all these games. I think they're going to be crackers. I'm going to do my best to try and catch them when I'm on Dublin. I'll wait to see the Dropkick Murphys. Can't wait for that. But yeah, all the usual stuff, folks. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, drop us comments. Great to hear from everybody. Find us on Twitter at Irn-Cru, Instagram at grid_Irn_Cru, on YouTube as well. Feel free to get in touch. I hope you all have an absolute blast and enjoy Super Wildcard weekend. Thanks very much.